Introducing Royal Caribbean's newest ship, Icon of the Seas, the ultimate family vacation. The ultimate 6 slides, 8 neighborhoods, 0 compromise vacation. The ultimate never done that, can't wait to do it vacation. The ultimate chillin' by a different pool every day of the week vacation. This is the Icon of Vacations. Icon of the Seas, arriving in 2024. Book today. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Hello again, hockey fans. Are you ready to brave the wild? With me, your host, Paladino Joey. Brave the Wild is available on the sportstuff.com, iTunes, Stitcher, and Double Twist. Nice to be back on board once again with you today. The Minnesota Wild finished 500 out of the last 4 games, 2-2. Yeah, you're hoping for that 3-1 record, but, well, I guess we're playing teams that are desperate, that want to get to the postseason, all that. Can kind of understand that, but at the same time, the frustration of a couple of these, boy oh boy, and of course seeing Mike Yeo come into Xcel Energy Center and stymie the Wild as much as they did. Jake Allen nearly getting a shutout, if not for a Jake Allen-like goal allowed in the final 12 seconds or so. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, that was disgusting. But it is what it is. Let's talk about a very fun game, the best game of the week, easily. Sunday, March the 5th. Again, check out the Pucknology Podcast. You can look them up on Twitter and, of course, find them on iTunes and download the show. Rock and roll. San Jose Sharks, Chris, and others out there make a nice show together. And it was basically a preview of, well, just a conversation of the Wild and the Sharks. You never know. Might be the Western Conference Finals because they've been leading that Pacific Division. But obviously we got a long way to go to get there. And you got an extremely tough week coming up. At least you wrap up nicely on Thursday with Carolina. But boy, Chicago and Washington coming up. That's going to be an interesting second segment. Let's talk about the Sharks game. Very nice showing by the Minnesota Wild on a Sunday evening. Fun little 3-1 victory. Sunday, March the 5th, of course, Parise and Pominville back from the mumps. And, well, all is right with the Wild. I'm not going to say all is right with the world or anything. But a nice overall play. Pominville simply putting the puck on net. Parise kind of, he deflected it, kind of turning, and it went right through Mr. Jones there, Mr. Martin Jones, who I thought was just fantastic time and time again. As the Wild would have breakaways, they'd have big-time scoring chances, and Martin Jones was up to the task. David Dubnyk, same thing on the other end. Only stopped 20 shots. Martin Jones stopped 25, so not a whole lot of shots on goal. There was a lot of blocks and a lot of good wall play by both clubs. But the Wild just very solid throughout this one. Eric Haula really good in the face-off circle. Strong overall performance. Koivu actually struggled, which is kind of rare. Only 3 of 11 in that case. But a fun game to watch. Kind of smooth overall hockey game. Nice to see guys like Parise and Staal kind of getting back into the swing of things, literally. Staal adding an empty netter much later in the game. A very defensive game overall. Eric Staal only 4 minutes later was able to put it past Martin Jones. I keep wanting to call him Adam Jones, and I don't know why. As I sit here trying not to cough to death, apologize there. But Staal would add 2 goals in the game. He goes from 17 to 19. He'd have an overall pretty strong week. Again, Eric Staal, just kind of like he does, lulling people to sleep, but a spectacular pass by Matt Dumba, who otherwise has struggled a lot of late. But a awesome pass, kind of like a Granlund level pass, almost like a reverse. His 18th assist of the year to Eric Staal. Legitimate assist there, not just serving up a juicy rebound off of Jones there. Staal with a big finish. Carlson just got one past Dubnyk 3 minutes later. So really, most of the scoring coming in the first period, other than Stahl's empty netter, the rest of the way. Kind of a grinded out second period, but again, some really fun scoring chances for both clubs and spectacular goaltending for both clubs. But luckily, the Wild able to come up on the strong end of this one. Thank God they were able to nail that power play again from Parise. You got Pominville and Parise on that power play. It's just like old times there. Parise's 15th goal of the year, and again, both of them back from the mumps. So not like we're sitting here like a month later and both of them are still sick. So we dodged a bullet. We dodged a bullet with the mumps. Hopefully no one else shows up with it in the next couple of weeks here. Knock on wood, wherever the wood is. Sharks look like a solid team, but the Wild look like the better team, and we feel very encouraged going into possibly a Western Conference series. If the Wild and the Sharks would play each other in the postseason, it would be in the Western Conference Finals, because we all pretty much have a pretty good idea who the second round would be if the Wild get there. Look, I mean, obviously Chicago would have to survive the first round along with us in order to get there, but odds are that would most likely happen. Thank goodness, though, the Wild 3-1 victory, solid. Looked like they had the edge on the Sharks most of the game. Frustrating calls for the Sharks, I understand. I saw some of that commentary on Twitter and such, but luckily the Wild able to survive that one. So now we go to Tuesday, March the 7th. Okay, Mike Yeo comes into Xcel Energy Center for the first time as the head coach. He came in as the associate head coach earlier in the season. Of course, the 5-1 pounding by the Wild late in January. Late January was the end of Ken Hitchcock's tenure with the St. Louis Blues. This one, a very different overall game, 2-1 in favor of the Blues. Oh man, Devin Dubnyk was good in the game. David Perron with a deflection. It's kind of like one of those "what can you do" type of situations. Luckily, a Blues goal would be disallowed later on a high stick, so thank God. That one was off the stick of Berglund, not Granlund, but Berglund, right? Off the stick there, really kind of reaching for that one, kind of like similar to Parise's, but even further away, I would have to say, in that case. So luckily that one was disallowed, and rightfully. It wasn't a very difficult call. I didn't see a whole lot of protest out of Berglund anyway, so it is what it is. And who do you think scored? Who scored midway through the third period? Again, after a very grinded out Mike Yeo type of game. I mean, was this Mike Yeo? You thought it was Mike Yeo. It really was Mike Yeo. I mean, a 2-1 type of game. This is what we saw with the Wild the last 4 or 5 years or so. But what you didn't see was Jake Allen be as good as he was the entire game. I mean, he was making stops that would just make you just want to break the TV set. Couldn't believe it. Like, how did that not go in? Eric Halla, multiple attempts. Parise absolutely should have scored on a couple. Just heartbreaking. And even on the miss, even on the save by Allen, still had a possibility to Chris Stewart and couldn't get it in either. Jake Allen just on his game the entire night. And again, how is Jake Allen suddenly finally like a good goalie for the St. Louis Blues? Obviously, they saw him as a strong goalie of the future for the club for quite a while behind Brian Elliott, and then it even got to a point where there was a platoon between the two. But he was mediocre. Remember in the playoff series 2 years ago, and he was mediocre last year, and he was even more mediocre this year. Now, here we go. Here comes Jake Allen. And of course, you got Hutton too, who's been a little bit stronger than Jake Allen most of the way, honestly. But oh Lord, Jake Allen very strong in this game. It's like you can just tell I'm disoriented even thinking about this one. How many chances the Wild would have, and of course, Koivu finally would get the Wild on the board with just seconds left in the game. 12 seconds left in the game, less than 12, honestly. Putting the puck on net from basically center ice, way back in the neutral zone, and it just skipped past Jake Allen. The kind of goal that Jake Allen gave up in the postseason a couple years back, and Ken Hitchcock had that funny look on his face like the, what? Where your mouth is left open, like, huh? That went in? And that's literally, it was that kind of goal. Where was that all night? It was just too little too late. Of course, St. Louis wins the face-off, and the puck goes the other into the Wild zone, and we're just trying not to let them go up 3-1 at that stage. There's nothing else you could do. Time was expiring, and that was all she wrote. Vladimir Tarasenko. And the story here that you're going to continue to see, and yes, this is not news. This is not anything that's like, oh my God, how could this be? Or oh, this is a huge problem here. Yet at the same time, it's becoming more and more of one. Is obviously Devin Dubnyk is a much different goalie when the puck is up. And of course, that was the case with Corey Crawford as well. And it's been the case with Corey Crawford and most goalies. It's harder to stop the puck by when you raise it, when you shoot it high, as they say. Vladimir Tarasenko over the shoulder of Dubnyk, and it was just a perfect shot, right on the money. A spectacular pass from Schwartz. Just holy moly, what a pass! And Tarasenko, 29th goal of the year. But no, Devin Dubnyk definitely, his save percentage in the upper zone extremely different than it is in the lower zone. Dubnyk almost perfect down there, but up above, it's a completely different story. I mean, I swear he lets like 30% of them past him. It's kind of scary. So it is what it is. And that's kind of the case here. St. Louis Blues fortunate in that case. Of course, David Perron, it was a deflection that went high. It was low and it went high after Colton Parayko's shot. And bada bing, bada boom. That was when St. Louis went up 1-0. And there it is. Just a frustrating, grinded-out style game. Dubnyk only faced 18 shots yet. Or excuse me, 20 shots. He stopped 18 of them. And it just wasn't meant to be for the Wild on this night. You thought the whole night the Wild were in the game, but they just could not get it done. They just couldn't get it done. This team played well for Mike Yeo, and you know what? Good for them, and they're staying alive and all that. And that's the conversation by Bruce Boudreau after the Florida game and the Tampa game. It's just we're playing teams that, they're on the bubble, and they're really upping their game right now because they're trying to get in. Thursday, March the 9th, this is a team that really wants to get in the playoffs, and Vasilevsky the entire night. I mean, it was like every bounce of the puck, man. Every bounce of the puck. No matter what it was, he would somehow get to it. He would knock it out of thin air, off of a deflection. Vasilevsky. And yes, he's been very good. His Andre Vasilevsky, that is. His save percentage, his goals against average, not spectacular during the season, but when the Wild have played against him, he's been insane. In fact, his goals against average against the Wild this year, 1. And this is because the Wild, they scored 1 goal in regulation, and it wasn't an overtime goal back on February the 10th. Happy birthday to my dad and my nephews, right? But it was a shootout loss for Tampa Bay in that case. So only 1 goal allowed in regulation, both times for the Wild against Tampa Bay. So Vasilevsky, fantastic against the Wild all year. The frustration mounted in both games, but luckily the Wild escaped. Last time around, not this time. Marco Scandella did get one past Mr. Vasilevsky in this one. Luckily, Marco Scandella, off of the Jonas Brodin shot, he was able to redirect it kind of down low. Nice play by Marco Scandella. Again, it's kind of strange seeing him that close to the basket, that close to the net. What am I talking about? Kind of a Parisi type of goal. You don't really expect to see defensemen down there, but I suppose if Jonas Brodin's back, Scandella can step up, and boy, oh boy, he was able to get it in there. And yes, Marco Scandella is the best basketball player on the team. I've actually seen him dunk a basketball before, which is kind of funny. That might be what I'm thinking about there. Scandella playing power forward for the Wild when he's a defenseman, and he put it in, and we'll take it. Parisi type goal. The Wild were in the game at one point there, but overall, Devin Dubnyk not on his game in this one. Pucks high, time and time again. Kucherov, not the best goal, not the worst goal, but certainly not great. Victor Hedman, 13th goal of the year. Kucherov, 29th goal there. He's really leading the way. 2 goals in this one. He added the empty netter later. His 30th goal of the season. Something none of the Wild players have at this stage. But Granlund's got 22, so I don't know. Granlund throughout the night, just a very bad game for Granlund. Turnovers and puck, just could not hang on to the puck time and time again. Poor defense, poor positioning, but the turnovers especially. Just off his game the whole night. It was really strange to watch. I got to say it was Granlund's worst game of the year. And that immortal line of Granlund, Koivu, and Zucker are looking a lot more mortal lately. And there's conversation about breaking them up off and on now. And that's hard to believe, but it is what it is. I mean, I don't know. I mean, since this trade, I don't know, man. Since this trade, it seems things seem a little bit different. And, of course, since the Blackhawk game, things have been very different. This game, very, very concerning, very disappointing. Boudreau was mentioning that afterwards as he's just, I'm concerned. And, it's like he's not afraid to say that either because it is concerning. The Andre Schuster goal, what the hell was that? I mean, it's just kind of gently putting the puck on net. Kucherov, a nice little pass and everything. And if you figure Andre Schuster just going to put the puck on net, hope for a rebound, whatever it was. Of course, there was a whole lot of space for the guy. But you'd think Dubnyk could be ready for it. It's like he wasn't screened or anything. Just right through him. And it was down low, too. Just right through. Just a sieve type of goal. And this was after the Wild had a little chance going on there. And, of course, you give up this odd man rush. And then there you go. There you go. It's 3-0 Tampa. And it's like, well, that's about it, isn't it? 3-0 already. Sure, you can come back. There's still plenty of time remaining in the game. But the way Vasilevsky was playing the whole night, whatever, man. Scandella scored with only 4 minutes left, 3-1. Sure, you're still in the game. You get the empty net later, and then Kucherov adds number 30 on the empty netter. Oh, goody. Yanni, the music artist, right? Getting his first assist of the year. Yeah, good for him on an empty netter. Well, 4-1 Tampa, and again, the reasons for concern really starting to mount at this stage. I understand these teams are fighting for the playoffs, and Tampa Bay's playing a bit better, Vasilevsky, blah, 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 but okay, come on, can we start winning some games again? It's our first 2-game losing streak in quite a while. Okay, so it makes us look good in that sense, but this is ugly. This is an ugly game. Many players not really on, and it's really sad to see Granlund struggle, but you know what? Not everybody's going to have a great game. It was nice to see Gustav Olsen back in the mix, but overall, just this was a bit of an eye opener. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Calgary game, it seemed like we haven't been playing them well all year either. So when that was a 5-1 loss, still extremely frustrating. Hopefully the Wild can rebound now. You've lost 2 in a row, the first time since November. Will the Wild rebound in Florida? I remember I picked the Wild to beat Tampa, lose to Florida. Well, maybe we can go the opposite direction. And luckily the Wild were up to the task in that one Friday, March the 10th. 7-4, and that's because of 2 empty netters, by the way. But this was a back-and-forth type of battle. It looked like the Wild were going to come out losers in this game. It really did. Nice deflection by Zucker fairly early in the game off of the Brodin shot. Granlund with his 40th assist of the year. The hockey assist, of course, the second assist to Mikael Granlund. 21st goal of the year by Zucker, who, again, has not been playing particularly well. But good to see him light the lamps here. 21st goal. About a third into the first period. That was nice. And then Darcy Kuemper in net, and he wasn't that great most of the night. Just same old story. It's always the kind of goals you think, well, I mean, would Dubnyk have stopped that? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, the way Dubnyk's been playing lately, I don't know. I mean, Dubnyk, it seems like he has these hot games, and then he has the quiet, and then he has the crappy ones again, back and forth. He was pretty good against the Sharks. He was good against St. Louis. And then he got shelled against Tampa. So it happens. Maybe it's 2-1, 2-1. I don't know. But hopefully the Wild can come up and score like they did for this game. And they really were up to the task after really struggling against, they struggled against Jones, really. I mean, only 2 goals before the empty net. And then, 1 goal against St. Louis, 1 goal against Tampa Bay. I mean, the goal against St. Louis was in the last second of the game. And then this night, the Wild woke up again. The offense is back against Raymer, who's been all right for Florida. I mean, Luongo's kind of oft-injured, and he's inconsistent. When he's good, he's great. When he's not, he sucks. He's kind of like Kuemper, but a little bit better. Like a better version of Kuemper is Roberto Luongo. Kuemper getting pulled again in this one. The Dubnyk goal allowed later, too, was like he was just completely out of position, chasing the puck, and the next thing you know, the net's wide open. So that's great. Just out of position. Not a good play by Dubnyk. Kuemper would give up 3, and they weren't good, and Mr. Boudreau was just not having it. The faith in Darcy Kuemper from this coaching staff is getting weaker and weaker. The patience level is dropping in a big way. Charlie Coyle able to add an empty netter, so I guess, again, if you're going to end the drought or whatever it is, continue to end the cold spell. It's not as much of a drought as it was before, but still end the cold spell. You might as well get it on an empty netter. He was able to add an assist also in the game. So Coyle, despite not playing well for forever, basically, has added 2 assists here. Coyle, these cold snaps, cold stretches for him have really been a huge frustration. And of course, Kuemper again, just time and time again, giving up goal after goal. The 1-0 goal by Zucker would be the last time the Wild would lead until pretty late in that third period when Parise would get a clutch goal there. And thank God for that. Parise been very active all week, and he got rewarded in this game. And also rewarded on Pominville's 11th goal of the season. Hard to believe Pominville's only got 11 goals, but he's got quite a few assists. He's really been putting in the points this year, and good for him. Not necessarily scoring a whole lot, but adding a lot of assists. Pominville been a lot better than he was last year. That's for darn sure. Eric Staal adding his 20th goal of the year off a nice pass from Niederreiter. Of course, his 20th of the year. And then he'd get his 21st. Staal just very strong most of the week. So many chances, again, throughout the way against Tampa Bay. Just got absolutely stymied by Vasilevsky. He was stopped by Jake Allen as well. He had multiple breakaways during the course of the week, and he was getting rewarded as well. Parise and Staal rewarded multiple occasions in this game, and nice to see Granlund getting what he did earlier in the year, hustling and getting that empty netter. If the Wild would go up 5-4 in a seesaw battle here. Kyle Granlund, again, adding that one, and then Charlie Coyle adding one with three seconds remaining after Granlund would add his with about a minute remaining. Thank God there. Staal would add his 30th assist. Now he's at 51 points for the year. So Eric Staal definitely stepping up this week. A guy who'd been struggling. Now you're starting to see the Eric Staal you saw earlier in the year when he would just factor in everything. He would score goals. He would get assists. He's always in the mix, and great to see Eric Staal kind of coming back to what he was earlier in the year. Now, hopefully, he can be this way when the postseason rolls around, because that's more important than even right now. But hey, in this particular night and this particular week, Eric Staal shined bright, and he really helped the Wild get to at least 500 during the course of this week. And thank you very much. This was a team that was like, we are not going to have a 3-game losing streak. This Florida team is beatable. We know we can beat them, and the Wild were able to do so. Those goals allowed by Darcy Kuemper, I mean, just pick up the puck, freeze the puck, something. I mean, a lot of them are just loose puck type of goals. And like, why? Why are you not getting it out of there? And the Jaromir Jagr goal, 13th goal of the year. He's a legend. He's ancient and all that. And it was nice to see, it's nice to see him score and all that. Good for him, but not against us and not in that fashion. Just a softie. And that's when the Wild would have the tie score again, and Florida would tie the game right back up. As my correction, and the Wild did take a 3-2 lead. It felt like they were trailing the whole game, and they basically kind of were in a sense, but it was a seesaw battle, back and forth. One team would take the lead, the other would tie it up. Luckily, again, the Wild, after Zach Parese's big-time goal, with his 16th goal of the season, 5 minutes remaining in the regulation, would finish the job, thank God, as the Wild would take over there. And Devin Dubnyk was solid down the stretch. It's just sad, though, Dubnyk having to come in after a back-to-back because Kuemper's that bad. Boy, good thing Alex Stalock is playing so well in Iowa. As you know what, don't be too surprised if Stalock gets a couple games in net and Kuemper goes down to Iowa, at least for a little while, to see what happens. Maybe Stalock's up to the task, maybe he's not, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if this organization makes this move, because Kuemper is just, you can't even rest Dubnyk on a back-to-back because Kuemper's so unreliable. And Florida has not been playing well. I understand they're desperate trying to rebound here after losing 4 out of their last 5. Now it's 5 out of 6. But, I mean, these goals were not good. These were not good goals. I mean, this game probably easily could have been a 5-2 victory for the Wild. Or 4-2. Probably 5-2, we'll say. And, geez, I mean, come on, Kuemper. Gee. But it is what it is. And, again, the Dubnyk goal allowed Alexander Barkov. What the hell was that? It's just frustrating again also. Just out of position. Kind of got tangled up and such. And very frustrating. Eric Staal also, I should mention too, had a goal taken away against Tampa Bay. Yeah, he bumped into the goalie, but it was ever so slight, and Boudreau was hoping for an overturning on the no goal call, but unfortunately it would stand against Tampa. I mean, that would have changed the game too against Tampa. But that's just what kind of week this was, and luckily the Wild are able to survive as now we head into the toughest couple games of the year coming up. Chicago, Washington. We'll talk about that in the next segment. But let's wrap up this one with the awards. Mike Modano Award winner for this week is Eric Staal. I mean, he was on the play, on the puck. He was in the mix the entire week. He could have scored 5 or 6 goals this week. He did manage to get 4, with multi-goal games there. Great. Thank you very much. Multi-goals against San Jose, several attempts against St. Louis and Tampa Bay, several scoring chances, multiple goals against Florida. Thank you again very much, Eric Staal. 4 goals during the week and multiple assists as well. Strong overall performance for Eric Staal. And we'll take it any time. A 6-point week from Eric Staal is a very, very good thing. Mike Modano Award, the James Shepard Memorial. It's like you could give it to Granlund, but I don't know. I mean, he was okay other than the Tampa game, and he did put the puck in the net. And you can't give it to Kuemper every single game. But it's just in general, just losing at home to Mike Yeo and then getting crushed by Tampa Bay right after that, pretty disappointing. I'm almost ready to give it to Dubnyk after that Tampa game. I mean, wow. This will be, but he was so strong against San Jose and St. Louis, so I don't know. I mean, would that be fair to give it to Dubnyk either? It's kind of like a general thing, like, not scoring against St. Louis and then getting crushed by Tampa and also not scoring against Tampa in general. It's kind of a generalizing one. Dumba has not been good, but I can't keep picking on him either. It's just, you can kind of put it all together with those St. Louis and Tampa losses for the James Shepard Memorial. Let's take a break, come back, and talk about a 3-game week here, but 2 of them being huge. Hopefully you finish strong in Carolina on Thursday, March the 16th. And then we'll talk about the prospects right after that. Back here on Brave the Wild, segment number 2, preview segment, and also talking about the prospects. Got to mention also, in the Sharks game, it's just so distracted with everything else going on. Christian Folin out for about 3 to 4 weeks, too, at the upper body injury. It looked like he hit his wrist pretty good against the Boars there on the boarding call against the San Jose Sharks much earlier in the week. Christian Folin, unfortunately, out for a few weeks now, so that's unfortunate. Gustav Olsson, upper body injury as well, day-to-day, as of just last night. So that's unfortunate. Gustav Olsson, a much-needed defenseman, developing guy and everything else. Let's wrap up the Chicago series here. It's all knotted up. Minnesota with, we have 4 points. No, we have 3 points on the year. Chicago has 3 points because they have 4 points. Chicago has 4 points. The Wild have 3. The Wild win. They win the series. Blah blah blah. If the Wild win in a shootout, it finishes in a tie. But at least we win the game. So there it is. Chicago would have each team would have 5 points on the season. So it is what it is. We'll just let things develop here. Sunday, March the 12th, NBC, Minnesota, Chicago. Yeah, what's going to happen here? The way the Wild are playing, I don't know. I'm not feeling all that confident right now. But that nice survival against Florida and the way this team so badly wants to win the division, have the best record in the conference. The sad part is how Chicago doesn't care, and then here comes yet they win it anyway some years, and other years it's just once they get to the playoffs, it's game on. Like, so what? They're the 3rd seed in the West. Oh, what a terrible seed. Oh, poor Chicago. They're so upset about it. And then they just roll through everybody. They're like, oh, so bummer. We're only the 4th seed. Oh, poor us. And then, and then they just roll through everyone, like I just said twice. Sorry about that. But, yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm afraid of. How much does this game mean? It means a lot in terms of, for the Wild, in terms of psyche, I'm sure. And you want to win the season series. You want to win the division in the Western Conference. But, again, the postseason, it's just, okay, just beat them, damn it, and I hope the Wild do. The Blackhawks have been playing extremely well of late. They did lose recently, 1-0 to Anaheim, now most recently. The Chicago Blackhawks also lost to Detroit recently, too. So, okay, 2 losses in a row for Chicago. Do you think the Blackhawks are going to lose 3 games in a row? I don't feel good. I don't feel good right now about this one. 11 a.m. Central Time in United Center. I don't feel too confident right now. Patrick Kane really picking up his game after really being quiet early in the year. Remember when he had like 13, 14 goals? Now he's got 29. Oh, geez. Oh, no. I'm going to start crying. Jonathan Toews was oft injured and hurt, and then he just starts tearing it up. Now he's at 48 points, 58 games. I mean, okay, those aren't like the best numbers he's ever had, but he's coming on huge. Patrick Kane, though, he's back to being Patrick Kane. I mean, it was weird seeing these guys struggle, not scoring that much, yet they were still like first place by a mile because when the Wild were trying to catch up with them most of the year. Now they're getting downright scary. So, of course, only scoring 2 goals in a total of 2 games here of late after winning about 4 or 5 in a row. Beating Pittsburgh 4-1, the Islanders 2-1, Nashville 5-3, just stymieing them. I don't know. I don't like this game. I don't like it. I've got a real crappy feeling. And even if Chicago beats the Wild and regains the conference/division lead, it doesn't mean the Wild are it doesn't mean the Wild aren't going to win the division. Of course, the Wild at 92 points at the moment. The Blackhawks at 89. So, again, Minnesota would still be in first place in the division and all that. Montreal, then Chicago has to head to Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto. None of those games are going to be particularly easy. Then it gets real easy with Colorado, Vancouver, and Dallas at home. That's a 3-game win streak, most likely. Boy, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't feel good about this one. I'm going to pick a Blackhawks win, and I hate it. But I'm going to pick a Blackhawks win because they're not going to lose 3 games in a row. You know what? And it's like I have to see it to believe it. I hope the Wild go out there and win 5-0. I hope they shell Corey Crawford and they add a couple against Darling as well. I hope it's like 3-0 Wild, like 5 minutes in the game, and Crawford's out. And then we had 2 more against Scott Darling, who's been really good this year. 2.13 goals against average, significantly better than Crawford. It's just that Crawford is Mr. Consistency. Even though, it's like it's not the best numbers of his career, but he's just so consistent and so deadly. Scott Darling, though, 16-5 on the year. I mean, that's no joke. Just imagine if the Wilds, just imagine if Darcy Kuemper was like that. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? Like, Darling's got Dubnyk numbers right now, just about. But even just imagine if Kuemper was like decent, like a Darling or even a Crawford numbers, But Crawford's got that psyche going into the playoffs. That's what's so dangerous about him. Chicago's going to win this game 3-2 over the Minnesota Wild. Patrick Kane will score because he always does. He's the Vladimir Tarasenko of the Blackhawks, and Vladimir Tarasenko is the Patrick Kane of the St. Louis Blues. Every bleeping time the Wild play the Blackhawks, Patrick Kane scores or Jonathan Toews scores. Because last time it was Jonathan Toews, it wasn't Patrick Kane. But, Patrick Kane always scores, though, against the Wild. Like maybe once out of like 4 times he won't. He's going to get his 30th goal of the year against the Wild. Blackhawks win 3-2. I just don't feel good. I don't feel good. I hope it's not anything more than 3. I pray to God Dubnyk be decent in this one. Maybe it'll go to overtime period, something like that. The Wild squeak out a point, which would be nice. It's better than not squeaking out a point. Just remember the Blackhawks beat us in overtime February the 8th. But then that 5-3, just that 5-3 blah game on Feb 21. That bugged me, and the Wild have not been the same since then. I don't feel good about it. Oh, if the Wild win it, though, I do think it would be a huge boost in confidence for this club and its division championship and top seed in the West after that. I think the Wild will achieve it for sure if they beat the Blackhawks. I think that's a stepping stone for the rest of the season, a springboard, if you will, and the Wild will be the number 1 seed in the West. But if they lose, it's going to be back and forth, so to speak. Wild still very possible could win it by just, as long as we're not playing the Blackhawks, maybe... Maybe they can survive and take over. 3-2 win for Chicago. Patrick Kane will net at least 1 goal in the game. Most likely guy for the Wild to score, Zach Parise, I believe. Washington Capitals. Washington Capitals, number 1 record in the NHL. Not in the East, in the NHL. 95 points on the year. 3 points ahead of the Wild. Not so bad. I got a good feeling about this one for some strange reason. And, of course, Mr. Bruce Boudreau is going to be going into his old club. There'll be a little extra motivation. He did really well against Anaheim. The only problem is the freaking goalie for Washington. It's not just their scoring, like Nicholas Backstrom and Alex Ovechkin is about as good a goal scorer as their league. TJ Oshie, who's overrated a little bit, but he's still a very skilled guy. Very skilled guy. I feel a little Minnesota ties, but he's really originally from Washington State. Holtby, though, about as good a goalie as there is in the league right now. 8 shutouts on the year. And he was one of the reasons why the Washington Capitals won the President's Trophy last year. And you know what, Washington? Go ahead and win the President's Trophy. Go ahead and win it. The Washington Capitals have lost 2 consecutive games. Dallas Stars and San Jose Sharks. But in between now and then, they'll have played the Los Angeles Kings and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. No, the Los Angeles Ducks of Anaheim. The Anaheim Ducks. In between then, and it's 3-game road streak losing to the Sharks. So it's a California curse for the Washington Capitals. I used to hate going into California with the Wild. They always lose 2 out of 3 or all 3 of them with these clubs. They're really tough to beat on the road, man. I think the Wild are going to split this deadly duo here. The top 3 teams in the entire NHL are the Capitals, the Wild, and the Blackhawks. Without a doubt, these are the top 3 teams in the league, and there's a pretty good chance one of the 3 will win Lord Stanley's Cup this year. And you hope it's not just some weird little underdog that comes out of nowhere and just pisses everyone off. I don't really necessarily want to see that unless it's Calgary or something. That'd be kind of cool. But that would be only if, say, the Blackhawks, get to the West, Nah, knock those bastards out, Calgary. Go get them. That'd be the only reason, though. I don't want to see Calgary get past the Wild somehow. That would be bullshit. Okay, pardon my French. Nicholas Backstrom, obviously, same name as our former goalie, but he's a lot better player in this league. A really good center for Washington. Just racks up the assists. He's also capable of goals. Big time, 67 points in 66 games. 55 for Alex Ovechkin. Not quite the 50-goal guy he was in the past, but still a dangerous player. TJ Oshie, lots of skill in the goal-scoring department. I mean, he's a touch overrated, but then again, he's doing really well in Washington. He's doing a lot better there than he was in St. Louis. 44 points, 25 goals in 53 games. Kind of off injured a little bit this year, but still a strong player and an excellent team overall. Holtby versus Dubnyk. Dubnyk versus Holtby. You got scoring, you got goaltending with Washington, and they're just, the goal differential is the best in the league. The Wild are number 2 in the NHL in that category. I still don't think the Washington Capitals are going to win the Stanley Cup, though. And quite frankly, I hope they don't. I don't like Washington. The only time I'd cheer for the Washington Capitals is if they're playing the Blackhawks, because why would you want the Blackhawks to win another one? Like, screw that. Against Holtby, we're going to have a hell of a time scoring, but then again, this Wild offense, it has that capability. I mean, it's either going to be like 2-0 Washington or 3-2 Wild. I think it's going to be 3-2 Wild, though. You're going to see Ovechkin. You're going to see Ovechkin or Oshie score. It might end up being both of them, but one of those two for sure will score against the Wild, I got to think. And the most likely guy for the Minnesota Wild to score against Washington and a 3-2 win. I do expect a victory. I do expect Bruce Boudreau to have these guys ready to play against this club, and the Wild will beat the Washington Capitals. The Sharks, though, congratulations, Chris and others of the Pucknology podcast, beating the San Jose Sharks on March the 9th, or beating the Washington Capitals on March the 9th. Good job in the Shark Tank there, chomping those Capitals. Most likely guy for the Wild to score, though. Let's go with Eric Staal. I got a good feeling about this one, and yeah, he's played against the Capitals for many years with those Carolina Hurricanes and, of course, the New York Rangers. Well acquainted with them. I think Eric Staal will be the most likely guy to score, and the Wild will win 3-2 in regulation over the Capitals. Nice. As for the season series with this club, we'll be playing once again on March the 21st, so just 2 weeks away, March the 21st. Tuesday, March the 21st. It's a Tuesday showdown in both cases, because it's March the 14th this time around. Wrap things up with the Carolina Panthers. God, I love those black jerseys, man. And I don't usually like black jerseys. I think they're overdone. But the third jerseys for this club are as good as it gets. I love them. I love the third jerseys for this Carolina Hurricanes club. I don't want to say Panthers. I hate those guys. 500, Carolina Panthers, 500 on the year, 7th place in the Metropolitan Division. It just shows how good the Metropolitan Division is. I mean, you're in 7th place, 7 out of 8 teams in a huge Metropolitan Division, and yet, you're at 500 and you're still way at the bottom there. Only New Jersey slightly worse with 2 less points, but Carolina 3 games in hand in that case. Who knows? Maybe the Carolina Panthers. I did it. Carolina Hurricanes can make some little miracle run, but I don't know. You got to make up about 11 points to get into the postseason. I like this team, and you know why I like them? Because they used to be the Hartford Whalers, and I do like their logo, and I love their colors and everything. And I liked Eric Staal, and I was very happy for them when they won the cup. That was awesome. Eric Staal and Rod Brindamore. And, Curtis Lecision used to play on them, too. That was kind of cool, the former Wild defenseman, very early on in the beginning. Jordan Staal still there, the younger brother of Eric Staal. Certainly not living up to the top 5 pick in the draft hype coming in. I mean, he certainly hasn't been the scorer that his older brother has been. Jeff Skinner leading the way with only 43 points. I mean, it's not the worst thing you ever saw, but it ain't the best. Victor Rask with 38 points. Jeff Skinner, the best player on the club, 21 goals, 22 assists. It's nothing to sneeze at, but if that's if that's the cream of the crop for your club, you're not really good. I mean, you're really not. I mean, Granlund's got 62 points, Stahl's got 51. Jeff Skinner would be way down there, man. I mean, he'd be below a lot of guys. Niederreiter, Koivu, all of them. So even Coyle. So I don't know. They just don't score very much. Justin Falk, a familiar name as well. Eddie Lack, he was a decent goalie with Vancouver. I remember him giving the Wild trouble in the past. I actually wouldn't be surprised to see Eddie Lack in the net, but Cam Ward more than likely will be the goalie. He's just, average, decent. He's had better years in his past, 2.65 goals against average, 22-20. That's a decent record. 2 shutouts on the season. He's been snake bit with 8 overtime losses on the season. Ouch, Cam Ward. Ouch. Just imagine if they could have got 4 more of those. Well, they'd have 4 more points, I guess. So, but still a lot more psyche. A lot better psyche. You'd suddenly be 31 and 23. So that ain't bad. That's a good record. And what would you have? 4 more points, 68 points. They'd still be in the 7th place. God, that's bullcrap, isn't it? Your record would be way better, yet you'd still be in 7th place. That's weird. But you'd have games in hand at least, which the Wild always like to talk about. I expect the Wild to beat the Carolina Hurricanes, and if they don't, I'll be very upset. Definitely the most winnable game of the week. To me, the Wild, I think they're going to go 2-1 this week. A nice, strong, solid week where they win the week, as Boudreau says. It's a successful week, as I've used that word too many times already, if you can win the 7-day segment. Yeah. I think I feel good about this one coming in. I expect a 4-2 victory for the Wild. This is not a very good scoring team. 4-2 victory, most likely got to score. Who do you think it's going to be? Eric Staal. He's going to score against his old club, and they're going to, they're going to give him a wave there. I'm sure. I don't think they have anything to complain about. Eric Staal is just a superstar with Carolina, and then after that, a good player. Superstar for the first couple of years, and then, still very good, though, like 70, 80-point seasons. That's borderline superstar still, which Granlund is approaching right now, that 70-point type of year. Very possible for him, despite icky game against Tampa. We'll try to let that pass. But I expect a 4-2 victory for the Wild in the game. For some reason, if Eddie Lack's in there, I don't know. Well, maybe the Wild take advantage and beat him up real good rather than have a stinky game against him. So, let's talk about those prospects. Let's start things out with the Iowa Wild. For some reason, it seems, I swear, they only play on weekends. Like, what's up with these 4 or 5 game breaks or day breaks? Like, it's same thing with the ECHL, the Quad City Mallards. Now, Adam Gilmore back up with the Iowa Wild. Not a whole lot of time in the ECHL. He was fairly productive down there, so good for him. Or over there, I might as well say. So Iowa's down, and then Quad City's just a little bit to the east there in Illinois. So that kind of is what it is. Of course, Pulkkinen gone. Alex Tuch with 2 goals last night, and Sam Anas also with 2 goals. So very cool. Quinnipiac's own 22 points on the season. Mike Riley adding an assist. So nice little night for those guys. Of course, Alex Tuch again, another multi-goal game, second multi-goal game of the season. Lucia, of course, mentioned out for the season. At least for quite a while anyway, if not for the rest of the year. I got to think it is. Alex Staal continuing to improve those numbers. Only 1 goal against, 3 shutouts total on the year, 2.39 goals against average, 11-12 on the season down in Iowa. And even Steve Michalek continues to be pretty good, but Staal has been a little bit better. Kuemper maybe go down and compete with Michalek there for that goals for the goalie spot down there maybe for the moment. Wouldn't be the worst idea. Ryan Carter still only 1 assist. He's still, he's got 5 games now. They've just not been playing very often. I swear, it's just like 1 or 2 games a week. What is up with that? It's they only play on the weekends. What are they, the Gophers or something? Now, speaking of the Gophers, nice 4-0 win against Michigan State last night, and they are officially the Big Ten champions of the regular season. Let's get it done in the tournament too now. But this is the shocker. Jack Sadek, 2 goals? Holy moly, this is a guy with 7 points all season. 1 goal, and he scores 2. He scores 2 goals. Now, it's Michigan State, and they stink. They absolutely stink, like they're worse than Michigan and all that. But 2 goals for Jack Sadek. He even added an assist, 3-point night for Jack Sadek. 10 points on the year. Well done, young man. Well done. I mean, he had 7 points in 30 games. Now he's got 10 points. Jack Sadek, well done, young man. Thank you. Thank you. Great performance last night. Well done, man. Sweet. Nick Boca for Michigan continuing to not score, and that is what it is. We're going to talk about the goalies. That's the feature presentation coming up from Pavel Bonet. That'll be great to hear from him very soon out of the Czech Republic. And, of course, his buddy Marek Skyba over there. Make MNWplayers.com. MNWplayers.com. Do look that one up. Wonderful. And, of course, they do the Facebook page for the same thing. Facebook.com/MNWplayers. We're going to definitely continue to look on that page. I encourage you to click like on that. I'm an admin on that page. I'm very proud to be a part of it, and they're happy to have me, too. And I can't thank you enough for that, Pavel. Thank you very much. And Hope you're enjoying this show once again today. Yeah, wow. Jack Sadek, I just can't believe that. Again, quiet week, though, for the Iowa Wild in terms of they only played one game, but still nice numbers. Sam Anas and Alex Tuck, very cool to see them step it up. Unfortunate about Lucia, Alex Staal, again, nice game. But also Quad City, same situation. They don't play a whole lot of games either, like maybe slightly more. And now it's just kind of the no-name type of guys, not like the Sam Mornings of the world and others. It's nice to see Chase Lang back from injury. He's got 5 games in tow. He had a couple of points early on, but the last couple of games not going for Chase Lang. But again, nice to see him back. 6th-round pick a couple of years ago. Jordan Greenway. Also got a hit on the retired Chad Greenway. No relation there, with the Minnesota Vikings linebacker. He retired this week. Check out Purple Mafia, State of the Vikings, a new show came out this week. Very big season wrap-up, and of course, talking about the NFL draft and free agency and all that. Really cool. Jordan Greenway, though, 9 goals, 19 assists in 33 games, 28 points for the Beast over there in Boston University, as they will most likely be in the NCAA tournament. Kirill Kaprizov, again, season ended, so we're just waiting. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we can get him over here to the United States, into Iowa or whatever it is, all the way up to the NHL. You never know. Jack Sadek, though, nice to see him adding some points. Luis Belpidio and Mr. Carson Soucy. Both been missing time with injury, unfortunately. Duluth for Carson Soucy and Luis Belpidio, unfortunately, both out with injury. The captain of Miami, Belpidio, very talented defenseman. Another guy you might see in Iowa very soon, as soon as next year. Soucy, too, though. Soucy for sure, because he's a senior there for the Duluth Bulldogs. I hate them now. I used to like him, but I hate him now but he'll probably be with Iowa. Maybe he'll start off with the Quad City Mailers. I don't know. Avery Peterson added an assist last night, so good for him. He continues to have some nice games there for one of the top teams in the country there. The Duluth Bulldogs, 13 points in 18 games for the talented Avery Peterson. Talented, and he's been through a lot. But good for him. Good for him. Nice to see him perform as well as he has. So let's talk about the goalies here. Nice article wrote by Pavel. It's the goalies, a future Wild goalie, as things are all over the place here. Well, you got multiple goalies. Adam Vey, who's been with the Quad City Mallards, he's doing okay at this stage. He's from Hungary. How about that? Hungary. You don't really think about Hungary too much. They're saying he doesn't belong among the top goalies, and generally speaking, the numbers after the 30 games. Yeah, I mean, they're not too good with Quad City, so that's a little frustrating there. The Wild signed him after the 2016 World Championships. Again, 30 games, .896 save percentage, not the best. Very unusual goaltending style and such, hybrid style, according to Pavel Bonnier. Ales Stezka, as Pavel, also on the MNW Players website, has pronunciation. So if you want to pronounce these guys correctly, it's that's the way to go. Alexandre Belanger, that's obviously very French right there. He's only 21 years old. Adam Vai. It's Vai. It's not Vai. I know that. I'm saying Vai for some reason. It's Vai. You got to remember the old working design Sega CD game called Vai. Alexandre Belanger, no relation to. Okay, let's not talk about the former Wild center there. Drafted by the Wild in the 7th round in 2013. Spent 4 seasons for the junior leagues there in Quebec, and now plays at the University of Quebec in CIS. His numbers are good this season, but honestly, why can't expect he is a future Wild goalie? So we'll see what happens with him. Ales Stezka, a Czech goalie, plays with the Chicago Steels of the U.S. Hockey League, picked by the Wild in the 4th round in 2015. So yes, very young there. It's still a whole lot of future ahead of him. And again, a 4th round pick, though. That's a kind of, you never know. I mean, Kuemper was a 6th round pick. McCulloch, 6th round pick as well, 2011. It's been a while. Late bloomer, but he's been all right. Ales Stezka, according to Pavel, he says he thinks he was a good pick because his current statistics are great. Had an awesome start to the season with 3 straight shutouts. Wow. LS is my friend. Wow. Hey, so he knows him. And yes, from Czech also, Czech Republic there. LS knows Pavel. How cool is that? His friend told him that he's afraid about the next season because he is 20 right now, so he can't continue the U.S. Hockey League. Yep, that's like a junior there. Well, and honestly doesn't know where to move because he doesn't have a professional contract with the Wild. Well, I mean, it's just one. Let's see, one possibility is move back to Czech Republic, but it wouldn't make sense for his future career. He believes that he believes in LS, but his road to the NHL is still going to be very hard and long. Well, maybe. Well, if with Kuemper possibly leaving in the off season, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if LS Steska gets to the Iowa Wild. Maybe he could back up Steve Michalek and Alex Staal as the backup goalie for the Wild coming up. That's a possible scenario I personally see for LS Steska. Steska. I apologize there for the mispronunciation. Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility for LS Steska. I mean, they took him in the 4th round. That's a pretty significant investment, and it's fairly recent, too. So, hopefully that's the case for LS Steska. Steve Michalek from the East Coast there. He's literally from the East Coast, even though he has more of like a Swedish type of name there. It says, very good late pick in 2011. He's become very good. He was strong with Harvard University in 2014-15. Moved to the Quad City Mallards. I remember he was on Quad City after that last year, and then up to Iowa. And he just stepped up during the course of the season. If you listen to last year's show, when I first started really talking about the prospects, now I kind of always have talked about the prospects in the later stages of these shows for years and years now. But last year I really got more hardcore into it. And Michalek, yeah, I mean, absolutely stepped up during the course of last season. I remember thinking like, wow, this guy's doing really well. And he's platooning mostly with Alex Staal right now in Iowa. He's been strong. He was even called up to the NHL, but didn't get in the game though during the course of time there. With when Kuemper was hurt earlier in the season, he had to miss a game. Michalek was active with the Wild, but was not put in the game. He's more of an emergency backup in that case. But no, Pavel believes he's very close to the NHL, and I agree. It's between Michalek and Staal, I believe, because I do believe Kuemper is gone. I think he's absolutely gone, and a guy who is in a contract year, Kuemper, not making a very good case for a contract. But yeah, Steve Michalek and Alex Staal will have definite chances. Now, Staal does have a one-way contract next year, so that means if he's in the AHL, you're going to be paying him an NHL contract next year. Now, all this was so the Wild could protect Devin Dubnyk. That was the whole point. And yeah, Michalek was up with the Wild last year too. Yeah, Dubnyk was hurt. That's what happened. Oh, no. It was Kuemper. It was last year. So he was an emergency backup once last year and once this year as well. Staal has not been called up to the NHL all season. But we'll see what happens. Capo Kohanen, as he was one of the higher picks, 4th rounder 2014. So, for LS Steska, if you're listening, if just in case you're listening, Capo Kohanen was a 4th rounder in 2014. So, still, I mean, and he's not here yet, so there's still a chance. I mean, I think Steska has a pretty good chance, and we'll just again give him a chance as things continue to develop with him there. Kohanen is definitely a high prospect out there, according to Pavel and many others also. 4th rounder 2014. Soon after the draft, he became a star for Finnish hockey. Kohanen utilizes the butterfly style. Yep, a very famous goalie style. Quick gloves and very beneficial in his height. Yep, he's 6'2". So he's not huge like Kuemper and Dubnyk at 6'6". Michalek is 6'3". Another bigger guy though too. So after the draft, he became a star in the second Finnish league. By the way, he scored 2 goals in the empty net during the 2 weeks. Wow, how about that? That's all the way across the ice to the other net. Just shoot it as straight as possible, and he got her done. Good job, Kohanen. A year later, started to play in the highest Finnish league and became the first goalie of his team, the starting goalie. At least at the last World Championships, began as a substitute goaltender, but later he became the first goalie and was one of the biggest stars in Finland at his tournament. His team won the gold medal. For this season, he stayed in Finnish league, and his numbers .922 in 32 games. Pretty awesome. He's been on a struggling team there as well, though. So, but still, to be stepping up like that to be that good for a team that's not been playing well, that's awesome. Next season he should stay in Finland, but then he's going to move to Minnesota. So next season he's going to stay in Finland. So that's also the case for LS Steska as he's in the juniors. That's the tough part. So Steska a little bit tougher road at this stage because Kokkonen already in the Finn League and then on his way to Minnesota later on. Yep, very good chance that he will be an NHL goalie and even a starter. Yep. It's like we're okay now with Dubnyk, but you never know. And at least we need at least a backup coming up to, back up Dubnyk and develop behind him and then eventually take over. Jake Allen with St. Louis, but not that he really stepped up that good, but you get the idea. Lots of goalies come in as backups. I mean, that's how they all start. You don't just come in as a starter right out of the gate. You back up another guy. Dubnyk, he's not going to be here forever. He's in his second year of a 6-year deal, so 4 years remaining on that contract. Very few goalies come in at 21, 22 and are great right out of the gate. Come in, be a backup, play 20 games, maybe 30 games, maybe 35, as it continue, as the years progress. The next thing you know, you're starting 55 games. Kokkonen, and then he ends up being one of the better goalies. You never know. It's going to be Steska and Kokkonen right now as future goalies. We'll see what happens for the Wild. Who knows? Maybe they're going to both be goalies, and Mahalik also as well. Mahalik also could be a backup goalie with this league because I don't think Alex Stalock's going to stay forever either. He only had one good year with the Sharks and 2 pretty lousy ones, especially his final year with the Sharks. But that's kind of the status right now with Alex Stalock because, well, he's a veteran and all that, and these guys are just, they haven't even played at the AHL level yet. Though some of these Finnish leagues or Czech leagues or whichever country they're in can be very tough as well. Like Russian league with Kirill Kaprizov. So it's tough stuff coming in too. So we'll see what happens as these guys continue to develop. Going to the NHL is really, really difficult though, and to get a goalie in the NHL, I mean, you feel very happy for them as their career can hopefully adjust to the NHL style and the talent and the quickness of the National Hockey League. So that's pretty much it with the prospects at this stage. Really want to thank you very much, Pavel Bonnet, for being a part of this show. Marek Skyba also does a great job, again, with the MNW players. Thank you guys so much. And please go and like that page, facebook.com/MNW players. Please go to facebook.com/Brave the Wild, facebook.com/Brave the Wild. Go there and like the page for this show. Now, by the way, Luke Kunin, no points last night in Wisconsin, got beat pretty handily last night. So, good. That's good. Dmitry Sokolov, watch also. Dmitry Sokolov, no points all week. Big struggle for him with Sudbury Wolves. About 3-4 games, no points. Strange to see Sokolov not scoring all of a sudden. So, kind of is what it is. They're stuck at 43 goals, 62 points on the season. So, well, we'll just, hope for the best there. Sudbury Wolves, again, hopefully you can see him come to a higher level at some point, as that's an elite junior league. Let's see him at a professional league next year. So I talked about the Facebook page. Let's get to the Twitter, at Brave the Wild, at Brave the Wild. Do follow that Twitter if you could. And also there's the phone line, 209-736-7877, 209-736-7877. It is a voicemail. Do treat it as such. Mention you're calling in to Brave the Wild. Do your statement, shout out, comment, question, whatever it is. Opine. Keep it from 1 to 3 minutes if you could. There's the call now button, which if you're international, goes straight through Facebook Messenger to the same phone line, same situation, 1 to 3 minutes, all that. And of course, like I said, it's a voicemail, so don't get too nervous about it. You're not going to be on live if you don't want to be. Maybe someday if you are on live, you'd be with me right here. We just go on Skype or some other call like Google Hangouts, whatever it is out there as well, for a live conversation like I did with the Sharks show and others in the past. I've had conversations with Neil on here on Skype, sometimes in studio too, which is not really a studio, but it's my studio. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then the final way to get in with your voice is free voice recorder application on your smart device, whatever it is, iPod, iPad, Android phone, Windows phone, they're everywhere. Treat it the same way as you treat a phone call. Email it to paladinolive@yahoo.com, paladinolive@yahoo.com. Your voice will be on air with mine, so you're more than welcome to join the show. I encourage you out there to please do that if you could. All of this information for spelling purposes, and you could copy and paste. You won't be able to cut it. Copy and paste if you want to do that for email or whatever, and join very easily there. Ready to rock and roll. They'll all be in the show description for iTunes, Stitcher, Double Twist, and thesportstuff.com as well. Thank you again very much. Hopefully a 3-0 week for the Wild. Wouldn't that be amazing? 2-1 would be good, though. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, as the song goes. 1 out of 2 would be doo-doo, as far as I'm concerned. And let's not even think about the other one. No way. I don't think the Wild are going to lose 3 in a row. So with that, I'm gonna bid you adieu. I want to say take care. Thank you again. Please do rate iTunes. Please do rate this show on iTunes if you could. I'd really appreciate that. Give you a huge shout out and thank you on air. Other than that, though, have a great week. Do take care and go Wild.